Can now breathe a sigh of relief after members of parliament voted to stop the 16% value-added tax on petroleum products from taking effect this Saturday. National Assembly Minority Whip Junet Mohammed moved an amendment to the Finance Bill 2018 suspending the fuel levy for a period of 2 years. This is the third time the implementation of the tax is being suspended, having been deferred twice in the last 2 financial years. The International Monetary Fund, IMF, has since 2015 been piling pressure on the government to introduce the fuel levy as a condition to benefit from a 150 billion shilling standby loan. The chairman of Matatu Owners Association, Simon Kimtai, had notified commuters of the impending increase on bus fares in Nairobi and upcountry routes. Nairobi motorists would have paid a record 125 shillings per litre of petrol beginning September 1st, with their counterparts in far-flung areas parting with 130 shillings per litre. Now to more news, Kenya's JKIA has finally got the green light as a last point of departure status to allow the airport to facilitate direct flights between Kenya and the U.S. The United States Federal Aviation Authority granted the JKIA clearance upon fulfilling safety and security requirements. Kenya is set to have its direct maiden flight scheduled to the U.S. on October the 28th, 2018. Kenya's national carrier, Kenya Airways, will now fly directly to the U.S., presenting new opportunities for Kenyans in travel, trade and commerce. National carrier Kenya Airways has reported a net loss of 4 billion Kenya shillings in its half-year results, signaling somewhat still a tough time for the airline. The management, although, says better tidings lie ahead for the carrier, which managed to reduce its losses from 5.6 billion shillings reported last year. Our reporter Abubakar Abdullahi now breaks down the numbers and tells us why Kenya Airways could soon be flying into profitable territories.
Airways has been experiencing heavy turbulence for a while now. The airline in its latest trading results reported a drop in losses, an indication that the turnaround strategy could be paying off. The airline, which took a massive restructuring exercise, was able to grow its revenues to 528 billion shillings, representing a 3.1% jump. This was achieved by a growth in customer numbers. Total passenger figures grew by 6.6% to stand at 2.3 million passengers from the period January to June 30th.
I know that the OTP, so the on-time performance, everybody would like to have it at 100%. It does not exist. It does not exist. Even 95 is very, very difficult to hit. So I say, of course, there is room for improvement.
The airline, which flies to over 50 destinations, is betting big on expanding its footprints in the region. Top on the airline's radar is a direct flight to the United States, as well as its latest offerings, which are flights to Cape Town. Even as the airline maneuvers a tough operating environment, a private-public partnership between them and the Kenya Airports Authority could tilt the fortunes of the struggling carrier.
There are financial benefits to KQ for doing this. There is the cash flow that comes from operating the airport. JKIA, without giving too much away, is a profitable business on its own, on a standalone basis. And that financial strength will add to our strength and will certainly make us more viable from, now I'm talking to the investment community, to the banking community. That's the one reason for doing the deal, because from a financial point of view, it makes sense. It adds to the cash flow, not necessarily to the balance sheet, because it's obviously their assets, not our assets.
The Nairobi-New York direct flight will not be rosy as well, as weather and congestion concerns remain high. Abubakar Abdullahi for KTN News.
Now, British Prime Minister Theresa May will make an ambitious 3-nation visit to Africa this week, her first to the continent since becoming British leader in 2016, aimed at improving post-Brexit trade ties. May, joined by several ministers and 29 business representatives from various industries, is expected in Kenya, and KTN's Thandiwe Yego highlights what can be expected of this trip.
Arriving in Kenya tomorrow, she will be the second British Prime Minister to visit the country since Margaret Thatcher in 1988. Theresa May is expected to meet with President Uhuru Kenyatta shortly after his return from his state visit to the United States in Washington and before he travels to China to meet President Xi Jinping. May's one-day visit will facilitate the UK's bid to strengthen and deepen its global partnerships as it prepares to leave the European Union in 2019. The Prime Minister's central message will be focused on a renewed partnership between the UK and Africa, already long-time allies. One of the key issues to be addressed in her agenda is security, and she is expected to discuss the role of British troops based in Kenya who are helping countries fight Al-Shabaab militants in Somalia. Also set to visit a business school in support of the next generation of energetic, ambitious young Kenyans. Tendiwe Yego for KTN Business.